So, you want to call a meeting?
Well, I don't think I so much wanted to call a meeting, but I would have liked to see meetings start being called, I think, is the way I would rather turn it. So as I understand it, we have every faction here. Is that fair to say?
Oh, the dead men present.
No, the dead men are dead.
Oh.
So they have no representation?
But all of them.
Grand.
They... I think so.
Disbanded.
They disbanded.
Okay.
But everybody else is here, is that fair to say?
I believe
Yeah,
so.
so yes, now every group's here because...
Okay, so we have the Celts, that's... Put your hands up, Celts, including the King down there, as we can see. We've got myself, who's here for the Druids of the Conclave, Tundi, head of the branch of the Cauldron, O'Reilly, head of the branch of the Spear, and Cavan, the King of the Celts. Nice and simple, so the 3 divisions that we have and the overall King. I'll pass to the Lost Cause since I know you all so very well, but I'll let you introduce yourselves.
Logan, Marshal of the Lost Cause. Theron, Master at Arms of the Lost Cause. And Kira, our healer and spiritual leader.
Who else do we have here?
Knights of Hone, and I'm Craig, Grand Master, Theodore, my right-hand man, and also latest addition to our lovely group, Lady May, Foreign Princess and Diplomat, who wanted to see how we do proceedings around here. So I'm quite
Fair enough.
enjoying the table. No one else here with me, is there? No.
Treat it like one of those things. You know at least one other person who hasn't said something, so throw it on like you would in a team building exercise.
Over to the non-affiliates.
We are the independents. We represent various people who have no faction. I'm Isabet, and this is Shaoli, who is also here to represent the independents.
I suppose technically I'm part of the independents, and so I'm no longer in a faction. Well, never been in a faction.
And obviously, if there's anybody else in that position, you are welcome to, be with us with that representation.
I think, Sin, you were confident enough to say that you're a leader of yourself in your own right, so you turned up.
Yeah.
Faction of one, still a faction. Then you got
Macarius, Archmage of the Mages Guild and the Circle Arcana. And Eddie over there is our resident healer and...
I was also told that anybody who is important to the faction, which I think I am, can show up.
He's been getting a dose full of pride lately.
I think the Celts have exploited that rule as hard as we could, so yeah. Do we have anyone who isn't announced?
We have.
Fair enough. Right. So, is that a and obviously, sorry, good sorry.
You want to be winning a radio?
Pontiff of Gresham, personal envoy and lord to Countess von Carsten.
Understood. Right. So is that a fair representation of pretty much everyone around? Yeah, Craig gave her a very nice little, this is the newest edition that we've got, didn't she, pretty, so to speak?
Oh, don't worry, if you miss me, you'd know.
So, I thought it worked that we all understood a couple of little things, because I know that both my own natural daughter and myself have been watering the plants recently. You might have seen us over with Volgrim, and it is fair to say maybe Volgrim would like some representation here as well. You're here, obviously, of course. But you've seen us watering these plants and receiving some number of visions. Now, I understand these visions may have been shared with some people through some Chinese whispers. I've told some people, but obviously it's very difficult for me to tell everybody what with the whole faction here, faction there. So the circumstance of doing something like this would have been very convenient. So if Cray had been previously organising these, I wouldn't have had to ask you for it, but such a
I'm not the only
forum.
person in the world who can organise a meeting.
You're
Every
the
faction
governor.
has a right to organise a faction leaders meeting,
Well,
surely.
we've taken that opportunity, and I'd encourage others to do the same, because I think we want to do this in the spirit of working together.
Absolutely.
So, across the course of the visions that we had thus far, 5 visions in total, has everybody heard that we have seen the source of the Reaver disease?
No, I know nothing.
I heard it.
Heard it through here, sir.
So, that's sort of why it's nice for us to have these little get-together chin bags. No information guarded. From these visions we have seen through the eyes of the tree, effectively a cycle of time passing. In the first vision we saw the wilds, the trees, we saw them growing beautifully and well. But our little sapling saw them chopped down by a group known as the Outsiders amongst them, but to see it through the tree's eyes, I think these are pretty clearly us. And in damaging the forest, there was sadness within our little tree. In the second vision, the tree decided that, and along with the nature around it, they'd do something about it. And something was invented out in that woods that we would term the Reaver Plague, to beat us back and stop us diminishing and damaging these lands. In the third vision, I'm being told in the third vision, we ended up looking upon that very weapon spread and affect until the natural forces no longer really had control of it. And it started pressing out, affecting the outsiders and affecting the nature itself and the beasts of the woods and the lands itself. In the fourth vision, we saw that come to a head with the outsiders being infected and turned towards that cause, and us as the other outsiders clashing against them, and yet more strife and damage. Strife and damage that we see scarring the land at this very moment. In the most recent, the fifth vision, we have seen that at the centre of that Reaver Plague is a reaving tree. It is the fastest of these trees that move. You may have seen them in the woods. It is large and it has an exposed heart. That exposed heart, I am assuming, we have not received the last vision, might be the answer to our prayers, but it is encased in the bodies of outsiders who have fallen victim to the plague. So it sounds like the circumstances are we're going to have to go out and find this reaving tree and interact with it in some ungodly, unfashionable manner. But there is a pressing point that there is one last and final seed that we need to adorn the tree and water. That'll give us the last piece of this vision and hopefully give us the tools to be able to end the Reaver Plague. This is everything the Celts have learned, and I just wanted to share it with everyone as upfront and honestly as we could.
Is that the seed that is currently in possession of the Fae who's guarding the well, which is now closed?
That seed was the seed of order, which was the one that was dropped and recovered, and that has been recovered, and that has adorned the tree and been watered.
Very good.
The last seed, all the seeds, for those of you that understand and look at the auras of the world, we have achieved 5 of the 6 auras. The last that we have not is white, life. So you should be looking for a bauble that is adorned with a white string. That is what we're looking for to attach to the tree. Now, in the finding of these, they've tended to be inside of a seed-like egg-shaped ornament that you may have seen some holding.
Ones that make
Dearly departed Daisy from yesterday's horrible trek through that god-awful bauble. She was affected by one in the woods before her passing, and it was the colour of the aura of death, and her not having that aura was heavily affected by holding such an item. I, having that aura, working for the Morrigan, didn't have such a problem. So when this is found, if you find a white seed egg-like structure, about yay in size, I'd strongly recommend only those with the aura of life or to touch and lift it.
Do those gathered here know who have such an aura? Right, that's that confirmed.
I found the order.
Can I just double check that? Do those who are gathered here have the aura? So these are the people to go to. When you said know who have, I don't want them to have to go and run to someone else. So these are the people you look for when the seed is found.
The order egg, and I think that's an aura of mine, did not go crazy and start shouting at me.
I truthfully hope that by finding this last one and watering the plant, we will complete the vision to tell us the last piece of the puzzle, which I assume is how we can affect the heart of that tree. Maybe reversing what's been done, maybe just killing the tree entirely. But I don't want to approach it inappropriately. So if we find it out in the woods, and you do happen to be a huge hero like O'Reilly over there with a magical spear, then don't try and take it on your own, because without that last piece of the vision, you might do it entirely wrong and make things 10 times worse. That's what I immediately wanted to share with regards to what we know of the land. Is there anything that we should cover on that? Are there any questions? Are there any thoughts? Is there any discussion to be had? Crispy, I'll give it to you because you're the governor of this land.
Are we going to talk about how to approach the entire problem of just let's just deal with that now, yeah? So maybe small search parties spread out through the woods to look for the last seed over the next hour and a half, see if we can get it done before last light. I'd really like to see this reaving tree, it's gone before the morning, to be honest. I'm fed up of this.
Oh yes.
Branching out. I think we're all agreeing.
Can I ask a question? Has there been any pattern to where they have the seeds have been planted previously?
Thus far, not a huge amount that I've known. I've known of one during the Shambling Mound previously. Where Torja was found the red seed.
I gave it to Torja.
You found the blue.
Yes, and it was just off the path before you go down and up to the new food level.
I think they grow. So I actually identified one of these seeds, well, a couple, and they all tell me the same thing, which is that they are physical manifestations of that particular aura that have fallen as natural growth from plants or trees, but in one case it was a shambling mound. So expect to find them in nature.
If they would be in areas of that heavy areas of that particular emotion or aspect.
I think that areas that you would associate with the concepts of life would probably be a good place to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still waters.
Areas like Connell's Tree, a gravesite, probably not so candidate, but who knows at this point.
It'll be in places with still waters, reasonably fresh rivers or springs. Things where life springs forth would likely be a point where it would originate.
Another idea. Another idea is you were talking to young dragons this morning.
Yes.
Where are they staying?
Unfortunately, they're just staying within the woods. I was going to bring it up, but there's 2 young dragons roaming the woods. They are not to be harmed. They are friendly, they are scared. I'm planning on giving them food and water later.
Sorry, you had a question.
I actually have just something I wanted to say, that if people are going out into the woods and are going to be looking around, you know, it might be an idea to pick up firewood at the same time, because everybody's going to be going down and coming back out, and also it helps everybody look, because it means that you really are looking carefully under things and over things and around things. So I just thought maybe, you know, doing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Just be careful of traps as well. There's been traps in the woods.
There are traps.
Whilst I agree to a degree, if you do find the seed, drop all the wood, grab the seed, and run back as fast.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Or pass it to a nominated life person and let them run for you.
You should at least have groups of 1, maybe 2 per group of a life user. Otherwise, if you don't have any group, you're a bit fucked.
Just a random accessory to this: if someone who's not meant to be holding the seed does hold the seed and no longer becomes of sound mind, wrest it from their possession and dispel the effect with a regular dispelling spell.
Get them to me when I've got some mana and I'll deal with it.
If you need them to be restrained, then we're always willing to spring a Celtic trap.
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you, Kindig.
I was just asking, can you move them without touching them?
I haven't tried, but probably. I bet that would work.
Right. So we have some action points there. We'll make up some smaller groups. Maybe just let Crispy know when a group is leaving, when a group is returning, just so that we can understand when maybe smaller parties go missing entirely. That would be nice. Fair enough.
But I think, yes, faster scouty types may be best to head it up, so that rather than engage any forces they might find flee, because we don't want to waste time.
Coda. I'll be back later.
Go on, Faber.
Unfortunately, Coda is not going to come.
Well, I mean, in fairness, if Eddie said, help, help, I'm being dragged, we would have done something.
Yeah, true. All he said was, I'll be back later.
He seemed quite alright with the whole
He seemed very calm about the whole situation. To clarify, if a being comes in and snatches somebody and they don't say, help, help, that's fine.
Incorrect. They have to say, help, help, I'm being dragged.
So if they don't say that, it's okay, you just let them go.
Incorrect. They have to show any signs of distress or discomfort or do not intend to be dragged off.
What about the future shout I did not sound away?
Sure.
Chokes on you.
I think we'll take pretty much any sign of distress.
I
I
feel
think
like
Eddie showed very few.
Right, I feel like using specific wording is not
I think that should be the main point.
That is my main concern.
I think it should be all
But
of our
I do think that there is a question to be asked of good old Lord Pontific Grasham here. Now, Lord of something. Sorry, repeat that one to me.
I've been with the Countess, yes.
Right.
I am beside her.
I'm not the Countess. You said you're beside the Countess.
Yes, a great good from this camp.
Right. You're talking more.
Okay, beside as in bedside, or
that's not.
Please continue.
What?
Okay, fair enough. Right, so yesterday we sent a message to the Countess, did we not? That said, we're having trouble with these undeady little bands that are walking up and walking down and walking round and round. So, yeah, I believe so. I think Eddie might be the one who we actually needed to confirm with, but...
We had to go down one, that's why we had a big fight with all those ones coming through.
Erasmus's lot are the main lot we've seen marching through. The Countess's forces have largely been in a defensive state.
Not doing well on here.
The Countess's forces have been confirmed by the Death Knight to be thinned out to the degree that they can act with impunity now, and they are attacking the living
that the Countess's forces of undead are
enemy of the mortal realm.
stretched thin, very thin, and she is not happy. She is also not happy that this camp has allowed forces of undead that oppose her to walk through the camp and march straight towards her. Apparently it was the Celts who have to answer for this, as they were the first to appease these undead.
Well, firstly, calm your boots.
I'm very calm.
But, well, you seemed quite upset by that. So, on my original point, these undead that are walking through the camp is the problem.
Yes.
You have made an accord with the camp that your undead can walk through unfettered, which the camp is trying to honour.
Indeed.
But they are sending their undead through the camp, and there is no discernible difference between either group of undead.
I must admit, when I got back yesterday, I saw a group of people saying, "Oh, they were the Countess's undead walking through." I thought,
there is no discernible difference. In fact, the only person who has given us courtesy to say these are my undead is not the Countess. Because not this very afternoon, we actually tried asking a group and they said, yeah, we're with the bad one. What's he called? There you go. And then we butchered them and sucked up their life essence. So you've got to do something that distinguishes the Countess's troops so we know who to let through and who not to.
It is a fantastic contribution, and I shall definitely deliver this message.
Right.
Countess, this evening.
It's also incredibly important to note that every time the undead have been put down, the Celts have had their weapons drawn. So the only people that I can guarantee have been in every combat against Erasmus's undead are the Celts. Now, one group got through unfettered because of some very silly diplomacy that's gone on around here. But that wasn't the Celts' fault. And if you want the Celts to answer, sure, we'll answer, but we'll answer with spears and swords. I just don't think it's what you need, because it's not what happened.
Very well.
Take that back to your Countess then, yeah?
Of course.
Brilliant.
Let's not make any more malicious accusations.
Nothing
No,
malicious
because
about
you
it
get
in
caught
any way.
quite quickly enough otherwise.
It's more of an inquiry.
Well, that we had to answer for.
Yes, that's what an inquiry is it not?
No, I think that's just something you answer.
Very well.
Anyway, Celtic law being the thing, malicious accusation and such, I hear that some people are a little bit tetchy about Celtic law around the camp at the moment. Now, Eddie, it's a bad thing that he wandered off, because Eddie asked us, can we have a copy of Celtic law so I can put it up in my little box? And I very kindly gave him a copy. Now it seems half your camp think that you were bound by Celtic law, that you got to walk around treating each other like Celts. I want to be very clear that's not the case, and if there are any questions following this meeting, I would quite happily sit down and tell anybody about Celtic law. But I don't think it's quite the bugbear that you think it is. Was anyone worried about it? Because some people were quite annoyed by it.
Yes, I am.
Yeah? Well, sit down and have a conversation with me after we finish the formal business.
No, I want to have a conversation now.
About Celtic law for the camp?
Yes.
Okay, sure, go.
Does your Celtic law apply outside of Celt camp?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's applies to every Celt, wherever we may be. Like that man in the Dance song.
But we were told that each faction has their own laws and they will apply, right?
That was the agreement we all came to some years ago, yeah?
So why does the Celt law override that, apparently?
Well, I don't think that it necessarily overrides someone else's laws. I think,
Celtic law has been established on this land for many years, applying to the Celts. The difference that has happened this year is that we brought people who could read and write and wrote it down and actually tried to administer it somewhat fairly for once. As I understand it previously, you had that man here was a little henchman for a big old bastard who just wandered around distributing Celtic law for fun. But didn't you, Crispy, agree that he could?
Under duress. He was a very big man with a hammer.
Please.
I think one problem may be, and unfortunately I can't remember the exact wording, but at the top of the list of your laws, it does not say that this only applies to pets. It implies, therefore, that
Eddie, you alright?
who may not be Celts are also bound by these laws.
If you were to do something to a Celt on that list, the Celt will seek justice under Celtic law by his own laws and his own traditions. And we would expect anyone else to do the same. And I'm just taking it, Vargas, because you seem quite a chunky fella who could swing a sword. But if these guys decided that every time someone insulted them, they asked for an honour duel, that would be allowed in this camp, under the law that Crispy has had for a very long time. The Celts have just done you the honour, as was asked by Eddie, of letting you know what those rules are in advance. Has anyone else ever extended you that courtesy?
No. I'm quite new here to this camp, so therefore I'm not really aware of the rules of any of the different factions. Maybe that's something that should be changed.
It's also worth noting that I tried my very damnedest to put our laws forward nice and fairly and quite congenially with the judge who came. And the judge and I gave him a copy of our laws, and I said, this is what we are living by, but as a primordial being of law, if you ever want to write yours down and let us know what they are, we'd be very willing to read them. But I don't believe anyone else has ever actually asked for a copy of the law from the primordial gods of law before.
I think I got about suggesting this about 5 minutes after they left.
Right, well, we've done it.
Lost call. Well, coming back in 4 rooms, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. And when it comes to justice, we immediately square our accounts. Every account, the most paid our debts, according to those primordial laws. That's what we are. We're honourable people. We do what we can as quickly as we can. Well, we do now. We took in a Celt who had a debt, so now we've got a little bit to deal with, but we'll deal with that, won't we, Tony?
Yeah, that won't be an issue.
So, what we've done is what every other faction have done, is live by our own traditions.
That's fine.
But where those traditions, it's not about lands, it's about people. I also, if you were to walk outside of your camp and someone committed an atrocity of your own traditions against you, are you saying you shouldn't be protected by your own kin?
What kin do I have?
We'd be your kin if you needed it. If you told me your laws...
I'm not your kin. You've made that very clear in your laws.
That's not quite how it works.
No, you've literally told me in your laws that I'm a lesser being.
Absolutely not.
Really, I'm only worth 5 silver.
There's no price on that list.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. It's the honour price.
Yes.
The killing of a
My
free
life
person.
is worth 5 silver according to your laws.
Yes, but do you understand how that works? We don't adjudicate the value of a life for anybody who isn't a Celt. We can only adjudicate and do the sliding scale of an honour price on someone who submits to Celtic honour. So
But you're expecting us all to submit to Celtic honour by putting your laws up for everybody to follow.
we didn't put them up. Somebody asked us for them so that they could show them.
But
to
you're
the
expecting
world.
us all to follow them.
And you'd expect us to follow yours.
No, I'm not.
So what's particularly
quite get how
interesting
that
is I think
works.
this all came about because Torge said something which upset someone, and he's an honorary Celt, and then you overheard the Celtic law thing. We're like, hey, let's get a copy of that.
There's actually a reason
Oh,
why
I'd like to hear
I
it.
put up the copy.
I'd like to hear why.
I decided, because I realised I had been breaking these Celtic laws. And instead of having to come up with a fine, I made the deal of putting it up.
Makes sense.
As the payment.
And when it comes to these amounts of money, I don't know if you've noticed, but not many Celts can count. We're not that interested in the money, but in the instance with Torch, he said something insulting to O'Reilly. It was brought to his attention. We explained what Celtic law would mean. He didn't want to get into honour duels and combats against a badass werewolf at the time. And I can understand that, but he didn't have to pay 2 gold and 5 to him. They agreed to do a trade in services and deals. I think at the end of it, we've had 50 conversations more with Torch since. We get on rather well, and he's putting his skills to use on some of the best weapons in the camp. It actually kind of works. Rather than getting up in arms, I just suggest you sit back and see what happens. Because I don't think it's that
refuse to be seen as a lesser being by someone else.
It's not a lesser being,
Yes,
it's just
it
a
is.
nominal value.
You're putting a value on my life that is less than yours.
Mine is 0. My score on that scale,
He's
I am
candless,
worth
yeah?
a 0
No honor
copper.
voice.
I am genuine, and just to say, 5 silver, let me check, because I think that puts you at more than most honorary Celts. It's a nominal number that is there to provide you value, not to diminish it. So, a non-Celt with 0 deeds on an honour standing would be 0 copper for the other crimes. But we don't want them killed, so we put the fine in there to make sure that they don't get killed. But 5 silver is at 0.9 on the scale of Enoch, which is, well, 6 copper for every point. So you're talking 5 and 4. Yeah, so between 0.8 and
Some
0.9.
random scale that you
Between
understand
0.8
and no
and 0.9.
one else does.
Well, I just said I'd happily teach anyone. And we've got 3 druids who understand it and brought it here. And it's not a scale that you're saying explain all of Celtic tradition to me.
I don't
I'm quite
see
happy
why
to
I should
do
have
so.
to follow your traditions.
Well, you don't. Just don't
But you're
worry
saying
about the
that I
song.
have to.
What am I saying you have to do? What
Follow
I'm saying.
your laws and your traditions.
What, have you read them?
The laws, yes.
So, what one would you not want to follow? What one inhibits you in any way? You can't kill Celts. Fair enough. I think the Celts would
I
probably
can't
come
even
out.
insult a Celt. What if he insults me?
Then do something under your own laws and your own powers.
But not insulting a Celt. I'm to understand that that's actually particularly if the insult insults their honour, it's a question of an honourable.
Yes.
It's an honour.
If you were to take.
That's why I'm asking. I'm seeking clarification from
There is no
rules.
clarification on those laws.
That's why I'm seeking it now in this meeting.
We are here. We will talk. So Celts will only be insulted. It's illegal heckling, and that's true. That's the
up
terminology.
to you what that means.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, but yes, it is. We are the Druids of the Celtic Order. We have a tradition that goes back thousands of years. We sacrifice all of our own honour to make ourselves 0 on the copper value when it comes to it under our own laws, so that we can be trusted to do this honourably. That's why we're here. It's our job. I would say, from my point of view as a Celt, we share the distribution of our laws equally. But in every single camp that I have seen here, there is one person who is the arbiter of justice for their faction. In fact, your governor and your lawmaster and your master of armies, as I understand it, are all in the same person. It's the least diplomatic thing I've ever seen. I don't mean it to be rude.
Oh, no, not at all.
But the truth of the matter is,
People
we
just keep
share
giving
our
me titles.
responsibilities, we share our decisions, we don't do things cruelly, and any person who has thus far been judged under Celtic law has sort of said, you know what, I kind of had that coming. You can be angry about it, but I have to be honest, it ain't going anywhere.
I don't see why I should follow your laws. I owe you no fealty. I am not a Celt.
Break them and find out why.
Let's not devolve this into threats, please.
It's not a threat.
Oh yes, that was.
Anyway, I think I've explained my place pretty clearly. We're going to live by our traditions. We expect others to do the same. We've done you the courtesy of sharing that information with you. No one's ever given us that courtesy. What laws am I being held under? My king got charged with extraplanar movement or something.
I know, right?
And did we charge people chunks of star metal? No. All we did was kindly ask the gods of justice, could you please clarify what the law is? Because 90% of it was ridiculous words that meant nothing, and the people here were guilty of nothing.
Out of curiosity.
In fact, a couple of them were guilty of a little bit of something. But for
With
the
the
most
star
part,
metal.
I mean, you admitted guilt on one of them, didn't you?
Unfortunately, yes.
I pled guilty on both my charges.
I just walked up, said guilty, and walked away.
Why is he asking for star metal as a payment?
I had some thoughts about that.
Why
I think it's
is he gathering so much star metal?
Valid topic of discussion.
Well,
is he joining the war of creators? If all the creators are apparently massing armies.
Maybe star metal has some properties that we're unaware of. Maybe as someone who arbits over, temporal and reality disasters and all that.
Is he going to find it down and have it as a drug?
Does star metal stabilise things in large enough quantities? Maybe he's just going to get a big old rock and stick it in the ground and it'll get better.
Well, when it's forged as a weapon, it has the ability to suppress or destroy anything from another plane of existence, irrespective of its plane. So it stands to reason that it's sort of anchoring material. Sorry, Oliver.
Did no one happen to notice when he left, he was laughing about with his horde?
Clearly enjoyed his day here, did he not?
It just seems rather suspicious that an entity of law was rather pleased at having gotten, I suspect, having made off like a bandit with incredibly valuable resources.
It's going to be hilarious if another judge turns up like tomorrow morning. I'm here for the trial.
Like we say,
we thought that was somebody else.
You say that it was an entity of law.
Yes, you would, wouldn't you?
Do we know that, or did we just take his word for it?
I think he was thoroughly scanned.
You check.
What did he drink before you did it, though? What did he drink before you did it?
Squash.
Randy prepared the drink he gave.
The drink of primordial being.
Myself.
I see it.
If I prepare a drink for a host, if I'm hosting for a guest, be they of anything, under my orders of diplomacy teachings, I will prepare a refreshment, drink a bit myself first to prove that it is not harmful, then hand it over.
That's typical diplomatic procedure.
Yes, well, that's Russian. But I offered him refreshment to extend a friendly hand, and before proceedings continued, or really got started, I made sure to see its true essence before, to ratify its legitimacy. It is a primordial spirit. It is what it claims to be. Now, lawful and not malevolent, not the same thing. We have yet to find out if this thing is vindictive in its nature, but we can't find that out from a single interaction. At least not to my knowledge. It's a bridge that I cannot yet cross alone. I did what I could, but it is a very, very powerful primordial entity, and a shard of something greater. So it's likely come from a creator or something on par with it.
So, as a punishment, don't accept a honourable duel.
It will just kill you. Unless you have an army of killers at your back.
No, it might kill us then.
Pardon?
It might kill us then.
No, it still might kill us then, yeah.
Don't think that will go well then.
No, it will not. That
Some
thing
people
is
did succeed trying to
in an honourable combat, but in an outright conflict with it, that thing is capable of sundering metal, bone, and
it should be
No,
other material.
I did see what you did to the cat.
He set some very honourable terms to how he was going to conduct himself, other than the flying swords. But he acknowledged that what was fair would be done, and that was 3 strikes upon his heart.
Getting on that.
I have to say, in some ways, he was fair. The biggest unfairness is the fact that none of you seem to know what laws you answer to. Quite honestly,
In my defence, when we first got here, ever since we first got, I've been requesting a copy of local law from local government, and it's just never arrived.
That wasn't.
I mean, in fairness,
that was planar.
in fairness, as I understand it, unless you have nominated someone else to be so, you're the lawmaster. So, aren't you meant to request it of yourself to write it down and put it out there, or are these primordial beings going to fax it to you?
I don't understand that there's several forms of jurisdiction on these lands that you're all expected to follow at any one time, depending on who asks.
I mean, isn't there
we as Celts...
Not anymore. Exactly. It's the old world.
Yes, absolutely. Isn't there a letter?
We as the Celts are very confused, so we wrote down some simple ones. That seems to have caused a lot of problems.
Those are accused. Why can't they just drop off a letter?
People can't do bad things to Celts. We need to have some coverage. But if you have a nice little written down set of laws, you might be in a lot better position when these people come to judge you, when Celts come with their own laws. Because we're going to live by our laws. I'm not being silly. But the fact of the matter is, you could just write some down. You haven't. For a long time, as I understand it.
Absolutely. Has the Countess not awarded us the
faction heads? On this small square, yes. Then we write our own laws. The current small square was everyone governs themselves within the small square because we didn't actually have a local form of government.
Representing the college.
We were all individual factions and thus agreed to faction law to faction camps. This circles back to where we started. So Celtic law governs Celtic camps.
No. Celtic law governs Celtic people.
No, not Celtic law as in the Celtic law on the board, just like I'm just using it as a generic term for the conversation I have.
If we want to go out and legitimately job, let's say, Erasmus.
Yep.
Are you telling me I have to bring him back to the Celtic camp before we can lay a finger on him?
So,
Celtic law applies to him as much as you. Yeah, but it applies to him as much as you. We have to have a reason. He has been doing plenty of illegal killing, regardless of Celt, non-Celt, honourable Celt, and it's worth chasing down. So when we get there, we want to exact Celtic justice, vengeance and law.
That's another reason I haven't got around to writing down all those laws, because we've been so busy trying to stop the war of creation from destroying the entire world. Shall we get back to that? So what about this reading tree?
Well, we're sending out...
Sounds fun.
It can be moved, but it requires much strength.
It requires 100 strength to lift it.
There's 100
It will require the equivalent strength of 100.
Well, there are.
How many Celts are there?
In which case it's got.
What about that jug suggestion?
Not enough to lift it.
There are persons that make it strong, right?
I don't think we can attempt to purify that enough with magic ritual.
Crispy,
Yes.
what about that jug suggestion?
Oh yeah, that was the other suggestion I had. Thanks for reminding me. I've forgotten all about that. So there's been this crazy guy roaming around with a jug. Came in this morning, turkey man, gobble gobble.
That was paid for.
Absolutely, you remember. So I'm led to believe that he sucks in magic with his jug. He's been draining
Not just magic, it's also
Fae as well.
Yes.
So
Fae.
if he's got a magic jug that can suck up magic, and we've got a box that's dangerously full of magic, let's beat him up, steal his jug, use it to drain the box, pour the magic back into the woods, and then open the empty box. Keep it for ourselves.
That doesn't. Yeah.
That sounds a lot of extra steps of just open the bloody thing and be done
Or
with
use
it.
it with a jug over the top of it and suck all the explosion in.
The resources back into the wet.
No, I agree.
This is either going to go very well or very poorly.
If opening that up releases a large explosion, that's not just affecting the camp, that's going transhuman further. We can't let that happen again.
We have no reason to believe it's a bomb other than why would it be?
Every time you gather everyone's resources, everyone's legs are taken out.
Yes, it turns out throwing shockwave through the ground.
Yes.
Pulses.
Yes, it does.
It will probably do worse when open.
Don't know about you, but I quite like having my legs down.
We could stand on boxes.
I think the problem is getting enough hands on the item.
What about rope?
I was just about to suggest that. A chain,
Well,
preferably.
because now you're dependent upon the strength of your rope.
That's why I just suggested a chain.
Well, chain with the strength of 100 men.
A few leverage points, maybe.
Couldn't it be made out of a
Logan would be the
material
man to
that's
ask.
I've been looking for powerful chains. I've not found one like that. That looks well on time.
I'm not sure how else we're going to.
Well, these potions, how strong can they make them out?
I don't actually know. I've got the answer. Someone tried.
If we cannot move the statue out of the
camp, maybe we can move, if that's the way the people out of the camp before opening it. Make sure there is no one in the camp.
But you're shooting. That's what I was going to say. Somebody's going to have to be the guinea pigs. There's a sacrifice to open it and see who
How dangerous could it be?
explodes.
Mind doing that. No, I won't. Too short earlier. Saying that's because I know a guy. It might diminish screaming at a box.
I've got nothing else. I don't want to sacrifice someone to open a box, to be honest. I mean, we don't know it'll explode. We are just guessing it's going to explode based on observation.
Hopefully once the key's put into it, it'll just be disarmed and the essence will dissipate.
If you were a make
There's a little part of me that does say local
Does that help you design your box?
sort of says that if it opens a little bit and he at least gets a view before it pops, he's an expert in engineering and will know what's going on.
That sounds reasonable.
Hopefully.
He seems
Either that or the immense energy will just blow the lid off.
But no, it seems reasonable.
Where are they going?
Right, we've done the box, we've talked about leaving tree, we've talked about...
Not killing the dragons.
Oh, are they going on the hunting party?
George, where are you?
What more are you talking?
Thank you, Macarius! Oh, I owe you a beer!
Leave the dragons alone!
Any dragon we find.
You skin the dragon and I'm down with you.
Yeah, I'll pay,
You don't want
when McSmitty tells me how much money he wants for his cold iron. I'll go over and get that on the go.
I'm going to have to make sure I'm looking after those dragons.
That's fine.
Where are they going?
Hunting party.
We're going to go find the life anyway.
I think we've
I'm hoping somebody there's got life aura.
Have they not?
They've got Macarius.
Is he aura life?
I don't know what his aura is.
Whatever the hell he feels like, he has a void shield.
Oh, we don't know. That way people are leaving.
Print after
Yes.
I will, but I'm stealing.
Are there any other pressing camp matters to attend to, everybody?
Yes.
I have audience with the Countess tonight and I have no fucking idea what to expect.
Probably lots of hospitality, food, and a really hard time getting there, what with the war between undead forces going on.
Well, they said they'd get me there safely back.
Excellent.
So from the competition last night.
I imagine you'll just be... I imagine what's going to happen is that she's just going to want to hear your performance for herself.
Apparently that's not what it is. I did clarify that already.
Oh, wow. I got no idea then.
Do you want me to accompany you?
Maybe there's a secret prize for the secret winner.
That seems suspect.
Yes. Which is why I'm partially terrified.
Right.
But I've been told it's a bad idea.
Hunter, would you be able to give any guidance? Have you heard anything about this meeting?
Which meeting are you talking
Looks
about?
me.
I've got you.
So,
How much money do you want for your cold iron?
is to read the countess tonight.
Who's meeting the
I
Countess?
don't know, should we go have a look?
This gentleman.
1.5, isn't it?
Probably less than 1.5. Well, I want to go talk to her as well.
I don't mind paying
I'm
you a
not
fair
worried.
price.
Oh, it's fine. Less
She's a lovely lady.
What, should we cook a nice round one so no one's got to split any gold?
Yeah.
And how many do we need? Three. Right, I'll go get you 3 gold.
No, we're not sure if we've got 3 yet.
Oh, well,
I've definitely got one. You've definitely got
I need a double
Volgrim's definitely got 1 as well.
I'll go get you at least 1 gold.
I think the contract is going.
I'm also going to go to the
Oh, yeah, I
toilet.
thought it was filled.
Oh, the meeting isn't adjourned. I'm just going to do other things now.
I can't remember the other
I think the meeting's just got adjourned.
think that's
The meeting's been adjourned, people are talking about their other business.
I never said it was adjourned. I said it's not adjourned, but I'm just going to do other things.
Ah, well.
Before you leave,
Carry on meeting.
I would like to say
No! You can't make me!
I will come across I'm pulling for what there's no villages here.
I have to say, Ponce, I have gone on quite the journey of experience to learn a little about your Countess in the time between the last festival and this. And I think that we're quite joined up in wanting to defeat Marasmus, and that there aren't really any questions in the camp that
You're right.
just want to go against the camp.
Came towards
So if ever you're in any doubt, just come and ask us.
Shall we come down and have a feast celebration?
I'm not going to be always able to guarantee that I'm calling a random meeting by which you can address me. You're always welcome in person.
Fantastic. Well, we can go.
Keep well, Ponce.
Yes, of course, you do.
to be me.